Darla Lejean. I am a real estate agent with Real Broker here in South Louisiana. Guys, it is hotter than hell today out here on this Thursday afternoon. I am on my way to a buyer final walkthrough this afternoon, which is always an exciting time for buyers. Let's talk about what's the purpose of a final walkthrough and how it can go wrong. Sometimes it goes wrong. Now listen, I've probably closed in the last 5.5 years, probably about 365, getting up there, maybe closer to 370 transactions in the last 5.5 years. And thankfully, I have never had a buyer find something so wrong with a home at a final walkthrough that they walked away from the sale. And listen, it would have to be really terrible for a buyer to walk away from the purchase of a home right before closing. So the purpose of a buyer final walkthrough can occur within 72 hours of the closing. What I like to do with buyers is generally the day before closing, they have the right to go and look at the house. Lots of times, it's the first time that they get to see the house empty. And so it's just an exciting time for buyers because it means that closing is very near. And so the purpose is to make sure that the home is in the same or better condition than the last time they walked through the house, which probably was during their inspection time. So inspections happen generally within a week or two after the offer is accepted, after it goes under contract. The buyers generally are there at the end when an inspection is going through and they're reviewing with them. And so for most buyers, probably the greater majority of the time, they haven't had the opportunity to walk through the home again until a day or two of closing. And listen, if a closing is happening late in the afternoon, then the buyer final walkthrough might happen the morning. And generally what happens is if it's a deal with a realtor, the realtors get together, they decide, they let each other know when the sellers have all of their things that they are taking out of the home, and it's the time for the buyer to go see the home with only the things that they get to keep. And so let's talk about what kinds of things generally stay with the home. Generally, what stays with the home is the stove and the dishwasher. Those are the things that generally, I would say, in the deals I have closed, probably 99% of the time, have stayed with the home. Other things that are supposed to stay with the home are all window coverings. So that means drapes, that means rods, that means mini blinds. Usually, if a security system is hardwired into a home, that stays. Generally, if TVs are mounted to the wall, the mounts stay. Now listen, a contract, a purchase agreement, is between the sellers and the buyers. So they ultimately get to decide what do they want to leave with the house and what they don't want to leave with the house. So if a seller says that the refrigerator is staying, then whenever the buyers do the final walkthrough, the refrigerator should be there, right? Now what happens a lot of times is when sellers are moving, especially if they have a whole lot of things and they have a big team of people helping them move, sometimes when people are helping them move, things kind of just get unorganized and they may end up moving something that's not supposed to go. Well, it's the seller's responsibility to make sure that if something accidentally goes, that it goes back before the final walkthrough because it has to stay with the house. So for example, let's just say that the sellers agreed to leave the washer and dryer and the buyers are walking through the house on the final walkthrough and the washer and dryer is not there. Well, closing is not happening until the washer and dryer is returned. And so just remember, a purchase agreement is something that both parties agree to. If they agree to things staying, those things must be there. Let's just say when the sellers are moving out of a house that they accidentally poke a hole in the wall on an accident. As they're maybe moving a dresser out of a room, they might make a hole in the wall. Well, the hole absolutely has to be repaired before closing can occur. So hopefully the hole in the wall is repaired before the buyers go to the final walkthrough. And the best case scenario is that it's repaired so well that they don't even know that it happened, right? Because when the buyers walk through the house, it should be in the same or better condition than the last time they walked through the house. And so another hugely important thing, part of a buyer final walkthrough, is during inspections, the buyer has the right to ask sellers to fix things. So let's just say in the master bedroom there was a cracked window that the buyers asked the sellers to fix. That should be fixed before the final walkthrough, so that when the buyers do the final walkthrough, they're checking to see, has that window been repaired? So anything that the buyers have asked the sellers to repair before closing, generally the buyers and the buyer's realtor are looking for those things during the final walkthrough. And so it's important to do a final walkthrough and to see that those things have happened. Now, sometimes buyers just don't even have time. They trust that the sellers are going to do what they said to do, or listen, the house was in such great condition, they know that the sellers have done an amazing job taking care of the house, and they trust them, and they just don't have time to do a final walkthrough, and sometimes it doesn't happen. But generally, a final walkthrough does happen, and it's a good thing that it happens, just to lay your eyes on the house as the buyer and see that, look, everything that we asked for is here, everything that we asked to be repaired has been repaired, and so tomorrow the buyers will feel super comfortable at closing knowing that everything has been done, the things that they have asked to stay have stayed on the premises, and it's great. And listen, 99% of the time, things are great. But that's what the point of a final walkthrough is. So listen, if you are closing on a home soon, and if you don't have a realtor, I would say, listen, a couple of days before closing, even if you don't have a realtor, you want to say to the sellers, listen, as soon as y'all are done moving out all of your things, please let us know so that we can do a final walkthrough, we can check the house, and you have the right as the buyer. If something major is not right, like let's just say as they were moving out, they knocked a big hole in the wall and it didn't fix it, you absolutely have the right to walk away. Now, listen, that doesn't happen very often. If you love a house, anything is repairable, anything can get done, there's a workaround. I absolutely generally believe that most people mean well and don't intentionally do things on purpose. So there's always going to be a way to remedy it and make sure it gets fixed. But that's the point of the final walkthrough. Y'all enjoy this Thursday. If there is anything at all that I can do to help you, please don't hesitate to reach out. And remember this, there are no stupid questions. Listen, when I got into real estate 5.5 years ago, I literally knew nothing. And the only way I learned is by asking questions, asking questions, asking questions. So ask your questions. That's the only way you're going to learn. Y'all have a great Thursday. Enjoy the rest of the week. And again, reach out if there's anything I can do to help you.